Good morning on behalf of Attorney Jimeno. I'm Gerg Cahiles. Two Parañaque local bets are breaking campaign norms. No fanfare, no budget, just grit and grind. We'll get to know how they are doing it here at the forefront. He ran for Parañaque mayor in 2022, spending only 2,000 pesos and still made a dent, placing third among the contenders. Now, at it again, Drew Uy is proving that passion and people power can outpace deep pockets. Can his heart and hustle beat a dynastic political machine in Parañaque this time around? With us this morning is mayoral aspirant of Parañaque, Drew Uy. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning. Maaga, but you're here.
Yes.
And it's campaign season, no? Now, we heard that you're a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh, yes. I was interviewed by a fellow geek then.
All right, but anyway, the point is, we will start our conversation by showing you some photos of some Star Wars characters.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is to siguro relate this character to a person, a political person in Parañaque. And we'll just give you 20 seconds to explain your answer, okay? Sige, we'll start. The first photo, it's Luke Skywalker, the hopeful hero. So, sinong bagong leader na may puso at may magandang pangarap para sa Parañaque?
Honestly, people would expect it would be me. But for me, actually, this is Parañaque. Luke Skywalker is Parañaque. They're the heroes here, not me. I'm just here as a representative for them.
Mabilis sumagot si Drew, ha? Hindi ko pa binibigyan ng timer, may sagot na siya.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, that means you know your answer to that question. Okay, the second photo. So we have R2D2, the silent MVP. So sino yung maituturing mong maasahan in terms of election machinery na talagang importante sa kampanya? So your timer starts now.
Well, the volunteers, the volunteers behind me. The others kasi they're not allowed to speak out. They're afraid. The others are afraid, but they're there. And I know they're there every single day, every step of the way, every house to house. I know they're with me.
Okay, so I'm wondering, your volunteers, gaano ba karami itong currently?
Currently, the Facebook group we created a Facebook group kasi sobrang dami na. It can't fit into one GC. So it's at somewhere around 800 volunteers.
Okay. Na every day nagkakampanya para sa'yo?
Not necessarily every day. The others, they contribute sa creatives. If you see graphics in the page, that's them. Kasi if it was just me, I just take a photo or a screenshot and then post it with a caption. That's about it. So they're the real MVP here.
Talagang magagaling sila in terms of arts and...
grabe. If you can only see what happens behind, galing, daming talents.
All right, so let's go to the third photo. It's Yoda, the wise mentor. Okay, so sino ang advisor ni Drew? Timer starts now.
Well, not necessarily one advisor. Many sila. They have experience in the background, especially in media, especially in others in politics. But they're volunteers.
Okay.
They do it actually for free. And they just give pieces of advice and pieces of structure that help create our battle cry.
Okay, if you can name a few, if you like. And
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Okay.
That's a concern. Kasi nga, they all specifically mentioned na this is just us in the background. Please, maybe be careful about our names.
Okay, so we understand. It's local politics after all. Okay, sige, let's go to the fourth photo. It's Han Solo, the charming rebel. Sino ang medyo pasaway pero may diskarte para sa'yo? Okay, so your timer starts now.
Actually, honestly, I think I would more associate myself with Han Solo. Being the lahat ng ginagawa namin actually is not the traditional approach to politics and campaigning. So parang the rebel, by being rebellious na, we're doing this for Parañaque, not because for ourselves.
All right, so you're the Han Solo of Parañaque City. All right, so let's go to the next one. Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, the steady veteran, sino yung nariyan sa likod mo parate? Sa mga laban mo, tahimik lang pero sumusuporta at tinutulungan ka. Timer starts now.
I was waiting for it. Actually, yung mga volunteers natin from 2022 who are still here with us right now, sila yung talagang, they saw it all, from the very beginning, from all the struggles, from the sweat and the tears until now. They're still here and they're still supporting us.
And, well, based on your answers, talagang malaki yung nagagawa ng volunteers mo to run your campaign.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the fourth photo. Fifth or sixth photo. I forgot already. Okay, sige. It's Darth Vader, the powerful adversary. Okay, so sino ang kontrabida ng buhay mo? And how do you intend to fight them? Your 20 seconds start now.
Well, mahirap yung association because Darth Vader is technically the father of Parañaque if you were to do it that way. But of course, obviously, siguro ang answer natin dito are the Olivareses who are there, the big ones, the dark side. Kumbaga, basically dynasties. That's the Darth Vader of Parañaque.
Okay. So that ends our game for this morning. But let's get to know you more and the promise of changing Parañaque. Kasi in 2022, na pag-usapan nga natin that you just used 2,000 pesos.
Yes.
That's from your own pocket, no?
Yes.
And so paano tumakbo yung kampanya with only 2,000 pesos?
Well, this was during pandemic days and meron kasing libreng sakay. So I used that to my full advantage. Pero I'd made sure na every single time before I get down, I turn around and say, maraming salamat po taxpayers for this libreng sakay. So that people will be reminded na it's because of them, it's because of their taxes we had libreng sakay. This was during pandemic. And then from that point, yun, as in big factor na siya na cut down ng costs because it was the entire campaign libre yung sakay ko paikot ng Parañaque. Outside of that, it was just I made sure na the flyers that I used were newsprint paper, so they're already recycled. And then if mabasa mo siya and you just rub it a little bit, malulusaw na siya. So there's no evidence of me na my face or my name being anywhere. It was one of the biggest things na I wanted to make sure of na you won't see my name or my face after the elections.
No tarpaulins?
Zero tarpaulins.
No
Well, others printed their own. So they captured like a photo of me and my name, my logo from my Facebook page, and then they created their own.
Alam naman natin na pag pinag-usapang kampanya, it's very costly.
Yes.
No? Lalo na sa politika sa Pilipinas. And some politicians are even asking to increase the amount that they can spend for the campaign. What do you think about that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, being the rebel, I tried showcasing that you can do it without money. As in, 2,000 pesos, who would have even considered? Kasi I was actually expecting to spend zero because I thought medyo digital na tayo. Pero after exposing myself outside, hindi pa. Siguro somewhere around 60% lang on digital, the other 40% medyo hirap pa. So that was the approach for the flyers. And then from that point on, I showcased na kaya naman siya so long as, tama at tapat yung intentions mo. And then people would actually know and feel it and understand.
So, ngayon, ini-imagine ko, kung noong 2022 may libreng sakay, so paano naman ngayong 2025 elections na wala na yung pandemic, wala nang libreng sakay, so paano ngayon pinatatakbo ang kampanya?
Well, nag-increase na obviously yung mga expenses natin when it comes to commuting because I'm literally, I think, the only mayor that commutes. Outside of that, Parañaque has been very generous in donating. Meron na tayo ngayon tarps. Our flyers, I can afford 2 shirts now instead of 1 last time so that I can wash overnight and then I just leave it hanging to dry. Outside of that, it's been Parañaque through and through. Like, they're the real heroes here talaga. From literally sa house to house, merong mga supporters that would stop me to give me a glass of water to drink. From that point until kahit na yung mag-aabot lang sila ng small sandwich, they would know kasi where I'm going, I tell them. Kahit na yun lang, yung sa mga maliliit na bagay na yun, it's a big deal, it's a big energy boost, it's a big moral boost.
Oh, and of course, ang gusto kong malaman, natatrack mo ba kung magkano ang nilalabas mong pera ngayon?
Yes.
So how much?
So far we're at 70,000 pesos, but they're all mostly donated. We have an accountant who's already auditing our expenses.
How important is that you account your expenses?
To showcase. Kasi before, Nung simula ng campaign, nag-release kami ng resibo on the initial expenses. Pero yun nga, I realized we needed an actual expert in the field to be able to do so. So we have a volunteer accountant now who's tracking the expenses. We're going to release our resibo soon on all the expenses to showcase. Kasi it's not our money. It was donated by the people of Parañaque. And I want to showcase, we're spending it responsibly. And especially, sa dami ng mga volunteers, we have to feed them at least. So yun.
Tsaka kung dumadami yung donations, it's better that someone is tracking the money para pag nag-file kayo ng SOSE,
yes, exactly.
hindi kayo mahihirapan.
Yes. Pero comparing to all the other competitors, I'm sure this is like change lang siya, barya lang siya for them.
Oo. So ngayon, you are running under the pitong plano para sa Parañaque. Talk about that. Briefly siguro. Kasi binasa ko masyadong comprehensive. So you can talk to us talk about your plans and platforms briefly.
Well, the reason why I used the continuous piece, para meron siyang mnemonic device, pitong plano para sa Parañaque. And it's also in alphabetical order. Not because, one, for people to easily remember it, but also for me. It helps me remember it in a sequence. So A, arts, culture, and history. Basically, especially for Parañaque, kasi wala. No support whatsoever in anything, even though nagcha-champion ang mga Parañaqueño outside. B, business and employment, which starts from training, seminars, and coaching, all the way to actually helping them taxations and accounting for negocios and small business, and also easier permits. C, cleanliness and crime, basically problem with basura. Parañaque stinks with basura. Yeah.
Great.
No, it's not great. That's what we're trying to solve. From the very grassroots, we want to use segregation as information dissemination, and then all the way to basically trying to solve crime from the grassroots level, from barangay level, empowering that until we get to the citywide level in cooperation with PNP and others. D, doctors, nurses, and healthcare, again, empowering what we have from the barangay level. More medicine, more doctors, nurses, and then more equipment, definitely, and especially first response, emergency responses, and then OSPARS 1 and 2, which has negative impact na on the Parañaque and especially the Parañaqueños, kasi they're barely supported. It's just basically a building now that barely has any equipment. The people have to go to PGH pa to get scanning, MRI and scanning and all the other things. And then eventually, hopefully, Parañaque General Hospital in the future. E, education, something as simple as literally, if you don't know and realize, electric fans. It's so hot inside the classrooms.
Yes.
Na electric fans, meron daw sometimes around 8 or 10, pero only 3 or 4 are working. So something as simple as fix it. Fix the electric fans and add if needed. And then water fountains. From all the way to hopefully, eventually, empowering first Parañaque's City College, and then eventually, hopefully, Parañaque University in the future. F, fitness and sports. Basically, not just basketball anymore. Everything from sepak takraw all the way to dragon boat. Let's give support to them, and then eventually also, hopefully, Parañaque Sports Complex, the real one, like Rizal Memorial Stadium, not what we have now, a sports complex, which is basically a basketball court with air conditioning. And then finally, G, good governance, which basically covers all the principles, the integrity, what we aim for Parañaque City People's Council, towards being included in Freedom of Information Act, and a really long list of things that we have to fix in Parañaque.
I've noticed that some politicians would highlight their ayuda programs para maka-entice ng maraming voters. Hindi ko siya nakita doon sa platform mo.
Thank you.
Why?
Let's stop giving people dole-outs. It obviously is not working kasi they're happy for like the moment, and then later on they'd realize parang they're hungry again. Kasi it can only go and do so much. I even ask them, because the students get 500 pesos per month allowance right now. And then I asked them, sige, they're asking me if I'm gonna take away the allowance that they're getting. So go, no, you get whatever benefits you're getting, you keep getting it now. But imagine, even if we increase this to 5,000 pesos, will it improve any of the services in schools? Will it improve the quality of life of your children? They realize, parang, actually, no. Oo nga, no. And then I tell them, these are the plans. These are our plans for the schools of your children in the future. And getting to college, and even after that. for businesses and employment if they need to. And then they realize,
Hindi ka natatakot na baka they might take it against you. That, ito naman pala, wala palang willingness para bigyan kami ng pera or anything. What do you think?
well, for the most part, gising naman na si Parañaque. A lot of the clamor, especially when it comes to millennials and the Gen Zs, we're all in it naman in trying to fix Parañaque, and we realize and understand. The others, medyo kailangan pa ng konting convincing, konting realization, and konting, parang basically, to say it frankly, a slap in the face, figuratively of course, na parang wake up and realize, oo, meron kang ayuda, and then what? Mahirap ka pa rin. Nandito ka pa rin, and you're still where you were the last 13, 21 years, di ba?
And it's cycle.
Yeah.
Now, pitong plano para sa Parañaque. Do you think having a comprehensive platform like this, ito yung nag-a-attract sa mas maraming volunteers na kabataan?
Well, it's more of what happens behind. Kasi parang what connects all of these is may gabay sa pamumuno, the principles and the foundations I stand on. Again, empowering the people of Parañaque, information dissemination, which is at its very core, intercedes everything. Kasi, in all honesty, my platforms can be stolen by basically anyone. But yung the foundations and integrity that we stand on, the principles that we stand on, I know yun, hindi makakopya ng kahit sino sa mga kalaban. And I think that's what attracts the volunteers.
Of course, you spoke highly of your volunteers, mostly kabataan ba ito?
So far, millennials up to Gen Z.
Okay.
Pero merong mga nagugulat akong volunteers na somewhere around 50 years old who ask for flyers. I didn't know why. So they asked for like a bunch of flyers. And then later on showed me photos. They themselves, without me, without Consi Eric, giving out the flyers and campaigning for us by themselves. Kasi I wouldn't expect, I would expect somewhere around maybe 35 or 40. And below to help. Pero yung mga elders, nagugulat ako sila mismo. They have the initiative to give out flyers and campaign for us.
Yung mga kabataan kasi they're very optimistic.
Yes.
And they believe you. They believe your gabay, what you said, and your platform. May fear ba that, at one point, baka mamaya, ma-let down mo sila with just a single step if you get elected as mayor of Parañaque?
Actually, nawala siya most recently. I'll just give you a quick story. I'll share something na an opposition or someone from a kalaban called, a camp of a kalaban called me to ask me to withdraw and offer support for this candidate in exchange for a position inside government. And should I want to, come 2028, fund either a congressional or a vice mayor position. They would fund it daw and everything. I said, I'm sorry. I can't leave my supporters. I can't leave Parañaque. I stand on principles and integrity. This is where I stand, and I'm sorry to let you down. But I will be with Parañaque, and Parañaque is with me.
Now, let's talk about the campaign strategy shift, kung meron man, from 2022 to 2025. Kasi I'm sure with 2,000 pesos, mahirap siyang paandarin yung makinarya sa ground. This time, you're doing more house-to-house campaign. Can you talk about the shift or changes that you've made?
Well, honestly, there was no shift. I did the same thing, but the difference is I was alone back then. It was literally a David versus Goliath battle in 2022. And now, come 2025, it feels like an Avengers assemble because I have a volunteer who can take photos for me. I have a volunteer who actually created chants and shouts, and it calls attention of other people. Before, it was just me just handing it out. And then now we're a lot louder. And basically, it's the same thing. It's just with more people.
Oo nga. Pero sige, nakwento mo, dati mag-isa ka lang. Anong pakiramdam na nangangampanya ka mag-isa, and how did people react to what you're doing? And this time, ano yung kaibahan ng response ng public?
Well, initially, sa 2022 was a surprise. Parang, oh, talaga? Ang galing mo naman. Parang gano'n. Kasi parang nagugulat sila na I was literally walking around. I would hand out while I'm in the jeep or in a trike, I would keep handing out the flyers, introducing myself. Nagugulat silang lahat. And then, the difference now is there's recognition. Parang, ikaw pala yon, or ikaw pala yung binubulong sa akin. So that's a big shift in the campaign. Aside from that, it's basically what remains the same is, oo, nakakapagod, pawis, and kulang sa tulog, pero it's still, magaan siya sa feeling dahil alam mo na sa tama at sa tapat ka eh. So, and people know and understand the sincerity of the run. So, even though, yeah, nakakapagod pa rin siya up to now, it's a lot lighter, and it's magaan siya sa feeling, especially with so many of the people behind and beside me.
Kung mag-isa ka, this time hindi na, sabi mo marami ng volunteers, pero ang binabangga nyo ay pader ng Parañaque. A political dynasty, they've been there for decades already. Bakit mo ginagawa ito? And at the same time, wala bang takot na, malalaking tao ito? May makinarya, may pera, may capacity, may connections and all. But still, andito ka na naman, 2025, hindi ka pa ba nadala? Tell us more about that.
Well, initially, wala naman takot. Initially, I just wanted to see. Kasi nga, I knew from that point, kasi I used to campaign manage other politicians. And then I knew from that point, dahil national election siya with the presidents, hindi ako masyadong bibigyan ng pansin, even though napakagandang story niya as like a piece for writers. Yun nga, David versus Goliath siya. Pero I just wanted to know, temperature check nung time na yon na, is Parañaque ready? Will Parañaque be ready come maybe 2025? So that was basically it na wala talagang takot kasi alam ko na kahit anong sabihin nila at subukan nilang sabihin at gawin, whatever money, again, they throw at me, like the offer for opposition, there's nothing that can shake me because ever since until now, ang bala ko lang talaga is integrity, principles, and being steadfast in what I want for Parañaque. And until now, it's the same thing. And if I let that go, I'm literally nothing. So yun lang yung talagang bala na ginagamit ko na until now, alam ng tao at daman ng tao na we're here for Parañaque and we just want to fix whatever they destroyed before or remove everything that we don't want in Parañaque.
Of course, our program is open to the response of the Olivareses, to properly address what our guest is saying right now. But definitely, at this point, meron kang 7 plano para sa Parañaque. Among those, alin yung topmost priority mo na may gigil ka na ayusin ko agad ito because may impact sa publiko?
Well, physically kasi, people would want basura to be solved. Pero on the other end of the spectrum, healthcare. Kasi it's been left alone. To a point where merong isang healthcare center sa isang barangay na it's literally just a building. Ang bantay lang is one small dog on a chain, on a leash, with the food on its plate. Walang laman, walang doctors, walang gamot, walang nothing. To a point where it's just left there alone. We need to fix that first talaga kasi especially for emergency responses, especially for healthcare responses, kailangan talaga ng mga tao. At marami sa kanila, consistent. Every single day, people are asking for money to help for medicine, kahit medicine lang, which I can't offer. Number one, because we literally don't have money. And at the same time, bawal siya, according to COMELEC. Pero every single day, they're asking for help for gamot and for medical aid and for kahit na yung scanning equipment lang para lang maintenance, wala sila. We want to offer that first and fix that first. And then siguro in tandem, kasama yung mga basura para bumangon naman at ngumiti naman yung mga tao ng Parañaque.
Kanina nabanggit mo, you have 2 hospitals in Parañaque and you said technically negative impact na sila. Because of what? And what will you do with that negative impact? Kung meron kang projects, buildings na parang white elephant, so what's the point? Your response?
Well, number one, yes, there are hardworking people behind OSPARS 1 and 2. Hospital ng Parañaque 1 and 2. Kasi 2 districts. And then, but as much as possible, they really want to fix. Kasi they have the Hippocratic Oath. Na they must do no harm and heal the people.
Yes.
Pero what can you do without medicine or with limited medicine? What can you do with limited doctors? And what can you do without equipment? Kahit na yung people are sharing na kahit blood check lang, it would take 2 months to be able to get results of your blood test results. Kahit na yun lang. And then from that point, It became a joke. I really don't want to share this, but it became a joke na mas madali pa mag-apply sa St. Peter na kaysa makuha mo yung results mo sa hospital.
And now, well, given that campaign promise, syempre, habang naririnig ng mga tao yung plataforma mo, surveys would show na tumataas din yung popularity mo as a candidate.
Thank you.
And kung sinasabi mo nga na may offers yung mga kabilang partido na bumaba ka na lang, wag mo na ituloy yung kampanya mo, that means a lot, ano?
Yes.
So, anong masasabi mo dito? With the increasing popularity, siguro kung may preference, we don't know, kasi wala pa naman ako nakitang survey with preference. Paano yun? Anong nakikita mo sa kabuuan?
Well, dati kasi the gap, even though second ako, the gap was somewhere around 30% or 40%. Now, it's only at 6%, which tells me, not because it's me, it's because Parañaque, kasi, zero funded campaign. Kung meron mang tarpaulins or posters, sobrang liit na, yung iba tinatanggal pa nga, tinatapyas, diba, ng kalaban. It only tells me, kahit na walang pondo, people are whispering at the back. Sa likod ng mga tao, people are clamoring. People are thirsty and hunger for change, for good governance, and for bare minimum, at least competence in government. So, kahit na yun lang, it tells me na the Parañaque is ready. Parañaque is willing and waiting. And the only thing left is actually elections na lang siguro to showcase na Parañaque wants better for itself.
Mahaba pa yung kampanya, but we'll have more of Drew Uy later. Up next, the only other member of the team, Drew Uy in Parañaque, when At the Forefront returns after a short break.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb.
The questions.
What did you uncover?
Nakita natin yung sa IPO, there was a violation of Section 8 of Republic Act 9511.
The issues.
Is there a problem with that, the present setup of the syntax?
The reason there's a 5% increase is because of inflation.
We clarify matters.
All these government agencies were actually the lowest. That's why it has to be, I hope that it will be addressed.
Pinky Webb is always on point.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musni. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey.
We empower.
This country deserves a real choice in the next election.
We motivate.
Do not invest money that you're not able to afford to lose.
Changes that are vital.
We're monitoring the sale of these products online.
Follow the Money with Rain Musni.
Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top.
Welcome to Lifeline, your ultimate guide to bridging the gap from where you are to where you want to be. Is it possible to have it all? A thriving career, a happy marriage, happy kids, and still keep that spark alive. Let's welcome VR Del Rosario and Chal Lontok Del Rosario.
I would love to share with people, we have been through everything.
It's important for both parties to be happy, be supportive, as long as it's not hurting anyone.
He is not your usual council bet. No big entourage, no flashy promises. He's running with Drew Uy, banking on heart, hustle, and honesty. Can this fresh-faced teammate rewrite the rules in Parañaque? We have with us a councilor aspirant in the 1st District of Parañaque, Eric Martinez. Good morning, Eric.
Hello, thank you. How are you, man?
I'm good, and we're happy that you're here.
Thank you for having us. Salamat, salamat.
Okay, again, we'll start our conversation with a game.
Awesome.
So I have here some envelopes, and may lamang pera to. Hindi po ito ayuda, ha? Just
yan.
to clarify, hindi po kami namimili ng boto dito. But I will, inside these envelopes are bills, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, dahil konti ang budget nyo sa kampanya, let's just get to know ano yung alam mo sa mga pera na to, saan aabot yung pera na to.
Sure.
Okay, sige. Mamimili na si Eric.
Okay.
This one.
Sige, ito.
Okay. Sige, let's go with the first envelope. Wow! Swerte tong si Eric,
Wow, okay, okay.
1,000 kagad. 1,000 pesos. Now, my question is, paano mo gagamitin yung 1,000 para sa isang effective campaign? Saan mo gagastosin yung 1,000?
I know very well kasi nga kami ni Drew uwi in Parañaque.
Oh, timer starts now. Sorry. May 20 seconds pala. I'm so sorry. And you have 20 seconds to answer.
Cool.
So, saan mo gagamitin yung 1,000 pesos? Anong campaign material ang gagamitin?
Yeah, zero funded kami, so very, very effective ang use namin. Tarpaulin and flyers. That's our main weapon, biggest expense, I would say. Kasi nga, although konting tarpaulin namin, napakaraming flyers because we give them out sa lansangan. Diyan, magagamit yung 1,000 pesos.
Okay, sige. Magkano ba daw ang mga tarpaulin ngayon?
Tarpaulin could go as high as 300 pesos for a 2x3. Pero we look for suppliers given na kailangan very cost-effective kami so we can get them for 150, 120, depending on how fast we need to get them.
So for 1,000 pesos, meron kang siyam or
Mga ganon, more
tarpaulin.
or less, na 2x3. If you want something na lesser in dimension, of course you can have more.
How about printing ng mga flyers?
Printing of flyers, 200 pesos, you can have about 1,000 1x4, about that. So kahit 200 lang yung ilabas mo, so with that 1,000 pesos, you can have 1,000 already on the streets na potentially 1,000 people getting to know a little bit more about you. Diba? So
Okay.
malaking bagay.
Sige, now, pili ka na ng susunod
Sige.
mong envelope.
Ayan.
Sige, okay. This one is 20 pesos. Everyone, 20 pesos. Pinakamababang bill ngayon. So, if you have 20 pesos, pagkatapos ng campaign, uhaw at gutom ka, anong pagkain at inumin ang bibilhin mo with 20 pesos?
Pinakauna siguro tubig.
Timer starts now. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Pinakauna tubig kasi napakainit ng heat index ngayon, especially in Parañaque, right? So we remind volunteers then water, water, water. 20 pesos you can have water na to sustain you for the next hours.
Okay. How about food? Ano bang pwedeng food yung pwedeng bilhin sa 20? May mabibili ba bang pagkain sa 20 pesos?
Oo naman, syempre yung mga nasa tabi-tabi sa mga cart, mga calamares, yung mga pastil, yan, mga half na order, ganyan, yung mga kikiam, yung mga fishball. That's not, very nourishable, pero if you need something on the go, that's already good enough for 20 pesos.
All right, sige. Your next envelope, please.
Okay. Ayan. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Wow. 50 pesos.
Okay.
Okay. So ngayon, pag-usapan natin, because you're commuting, no? Kapag
Yes.
nangangampanya kayo. So, itong 50 pesos from your house, saan ka makakarating kung magko-commute ka?
Makakarating na ako niyan. Timer starts now.
Timer starts now. Sorry,
Okay.
lagi ko nakakalimutan.
All right,
I'm
the
so
hard part
sorry.
about Parañaque is getting from District 1 to District 2. So makakarating na ako ng District 2 if I need to get there with 50 pesos. Pero if I just need to stay within District 1, I only need like 13 pesos to get from my home papunta dun sa pinakadulo. I'm from San Isidro to Baclaran. Kaya na yun, 13 pesos.
Okay, so medyo malayo-layo na yung mararating mo. Several areas na
Yes, several areas.
sa campaign.
Yep.
Pero kung may isasama ka sa kampanya, isang tao lang para sa 50 pesos, sino yan?
Siyempre, timer start. Just
No,
continue.
just answer
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that would be our volunteers, right? Since our volunteers are the lifeblood of our campaign. So, if I can spare a few more pesos, siyempre, lilibre ko na yung volunteer natin, di ba? Para makaabot kami in different parts of Parañaque.
Okay, sorry Drew, hindi ikaw ang pinili na. No, I'm kidding.
Kaya na need ko yan.
I'm kidding. Anyway, sige, pili ka na ulit ng susunod.
Okay. There. All right.
Okay, sige. Envelope, 100 pesos.
Okay.
Okay, the question is, kung may gagastusin ka, let's say, someone, makasalubong ka during campaign, asking for help, asking for food, o isang pamilya na nagugutom, anong magagawa ng 100 pesos? Anong bibilihin mo? So, timer starts now.
If I were to give, let's say, barring yung mga, let's say, the regulations about it, I would give them instant food, right? Something that is nourishing, na may kanin, nutritional value, not something na fast food. Because although it tastes good, it has no nutritional value. So something that would last them. Kanin and then ulam na home cooked.
So, like example?
For example, pastil, as simple as pastil. Diba? It's a Filipino staple, and it can go a long way kahit 100 pesos lang. It can feed a family already. Not for the entire day, pero at least for that moment.
Magkano ba yung pastil?
Pastil, merong mga 20, 25, depending on the serving, right? If you want to go a larger serving, 100 pesos, it might not be for a family of 6, 7, or upwards, but it can get you a big serving.
Kung a family of 4, kakasya na.
Kasha for a good, humble lunch, yes.
Pantawid gutom.
Pantawid gutom, yes.
Alright, sige. Ito na yung huli mo. This is 500 pesos.
Okay.
Okay. So, sa 500 pesos, kung 500 pesos na lang yung pera mo, magbigay ng iba't ibang paraan para makapagkampanya ka sa loob ng isang araw na ang pera mo lang ay 500 pesos. Different ways of campaigning using 500 pesos. Timer starts now.
Yep. I would produce more flyers. Yun talaga yung pinakasandata namin kasi nga nagko-commute kami. So habang nasa jeep kami, namimigay kami. So I would spend the entire day with the 500 pesos worth of flyers, which could be easily about 2,500 na kaagad. So potentially 2,500 people I get to connect with.
Okay. Kung sakali lang na may nag-donate naman na marami na, where else can you use that 500 pesos?
For tarpaulins,
Okay,
for
tarpaulins.
example, or even advertising online. I haven't done any advertising online so far, pero if somebody were to donate, that's something that we can explore.
Did someone advise you to use advertising sa online campaign, social media platforms?
Yeah, of course. Parang it's something that you employ naman normally with these types of campaigns. Pero the great thing with Drew and me, our reach is very organic. Our materials are shared like in the tens or hundreds or thousands easily, diba? So with that kind of reach, which is potentially like millions of pesos worth, word of mouth essentially, diba? You don't need a lot of paid advertising.
Yeah. So, okay. So, let's now proceed to some of the questions that we're very eager to know about you. 2022 elections. Anong ginagawa mo that time? At siguro, you can share to us kasi itong si Drew tumatakbo na. Ikaw, anong ginagawa mo?
Ako that time, nagtatrabaho pa. Well, until now, nagtatrabaho naman ako. But I had the bigger role that time. And during that time, it was kind of political awakening for me as well because I have to admit, I've been kind of apathetic to politics, like many of us Filipinos, diba? Pero 2022 was an awakening in the sense na si VP Leni Robredo, she ran Grassroots campaign, very much like our campaigns as well, right? Volunteer-driven, and a lot of it coming from the volunteer, the people themselves. So that's me, and I already saw Drew that time.
Okay.
So I'm like, there's this guy who's a regular dude saying he's running for Parañaque. Why can't more people do that, right? So that's why in 2025, I connected with him. I messaged him personally saying that, hey, I'm looking to help you out. What can we do? And now here we are. We're running together.
So, it was a random meetup or nag-approach ka sa kanya?
I did.
Okay.
I approached him because I really was inspired of his idealism, of the way that he ran the campaign, right? And then we had a meeting in the middle of Parañaque because we're both commuters, diba? So parang kailangan medyo gitna yan. And then we spent like 10 minutes eyeing each other, sniffing each other out to make sure that we're aligned ideologically, right? And on principles. And then after that, okay naman tayo. And there, it's been like a very good unity part of a mechanism so far. It's a very united front.
So you started as a volunteer?
Essentially, yes, in 2022. Not like somebody on the ground, pero somebody sharing and somebody talking about Drew, and I voted for him during that time.
Okay, so you mentioned former Vice President Leni Robredo's campaign.
Right.
Of course, alam naman natin yung ending nun, ano? Although, may massive support na nakuha.
Right.
How did you feel na ganun yung nangyari? The same way na yung campaign ni Drew, ganun din ang nangyari.
I think a lot of us felt, on the day after, really just, like, really sad. Depression maybe for some even. But more than anything, it was the start of a movement. That was more important than the loss that happened during that day. But now you see Drew, you see other people that you've interviewed so far drawing from that inspiration, diba? the overarching principle here is that a seed has been planted na kahit wala kang pera, zero or close to zero money, you can run. And not just run being a nuisance candidate, but a viable campaign, like what Drew is doing right
campaign.
now. A decent campaign, correct.
So, I'm just wondering, kasi papaano mo tinutulungan ngayon si Drew para sa kampanya niya? How do you help?
I think we complement each other a lot because part of my being or who I am as a person is I'm a content creator as well.
Okay.
Right? So I help out our campaign in that manner because I'm able to churn out content for myself and for Drew, and I think that's very effective because we come off as genuine. Kasi nga, yung tao ngayon, nag-iisip na yun kapag nakita nila yung kandidato na masyadong scripted, masyadong polished yung statements, they have a grain of salt in their mind na prepared statement yan eh. Pero when they see our materials na very organic, that's why a lot of people share it, totoong tao to si Drew. Totoong tao to si Eric, di ba? They see na pareho kaming commuter, si Eric empleyado, nagtatrabaho sa gabi, nangangampanya sa umaga. They can relate that these are ordinary people just trying to do good for Parañaque, di ba? So I think both of us complement each other that way very, very well.
Well, in that sense, so I'm wondering why run as councilor, not his vice mayor?
Realistically, I don't think I'm ready for that, right?
Okay.
It's my very first time in politics. So I'm kind of going there to support him. And to be vice mayor, I do not have any realistic chance at all. I think I would do more damage than good to be going for a higher post at this moment. I think I'm well placed to start as a councilor so that I can help out Drew as well and to kind of complement where I'm coming from, my background in that manner.
Okay, pero kinonvince ka ba niya na tumakbong vice mayor or was it a personal decision na no, I cannot do that?
No. It was more of a personal decision. Parang he never asked me that, are you willing to be my vice mayor? Because it's in our heads that we don't need to fill the ticket for the sake of filling the ticket, di ba? There's no sense in that. Na Drew is gonna think, oh, dalawa na tayo, bakit hindi ka mag-vice mayor? We don't operate that way, right? So even in 2028, if the movement continues, see Drew, he's not looking to fill the ticket just for the sake of filling the ticket. He's really gonna sniff out, he's really gonna validate the people that's going to run with him if they're aligned ideologically on principles, right?
Okay, so you're talking about your job. If you don't mind, anong ginagawa mo ngayon?
Yeah, I'm a Spanish multilingual. I'm a purchasing analyst. So I work night shifts.
So this is corporate, no?
Corporate.
And sabi mo nga kanina, you even held a bigger role in 2022.
I did.
So why choose a life sa public service versus a corporate life na for sure mas lucrative para sa'yo? So bakit mo pipiliing magserbisyo kung okay ka na?
Yep, that's a very, very good question because I have to admit I'm #blessed in that way. Like as far as remuneration is concerned, I'm okay, right? Parang hindi ko kailangang maghirap to be able to be comfortable, but I do want to do it to be able to help others, right? Because my education, I come from a public school education. High school ko, college ko, public school education. So at the back of my head always, I want to give back in one way or the other to my fellow countrymen. And Parañaque, I want to give back to my fellow Parañaqueños. So this is my way of giving back. Instead of just, I do a lot of content creation of political commentary as well. Instead of being limited to that, why not be part of participative democracy directly, di ba? And that's really one way that you can change the system. You can change it from the outside, or you can do it from within if you're part of the mechanism. Sure, it's very dirty politics but you can choose to stand on principles. For example, Vico is doing it, right? He showed that although he comes from a traditional political family, he can be very different. He can choose to participate directly and affect a lot of people's lives. And nakikita na ngayon sa Pasig na napakaraming tao yung natutulungan niya because of the way that he operates on principles, di ba?
Okay. So ngayon, ini-imagine ko lang na of course you are, again, sabi nga kanina ni Drew, political dynasty yung kalaban niyo.
Correct.
So, ano yung perspective of, talagang matalo nyo sila at this time? Is this another way of you like planting seeds, more seeds, and reap it eventually? O talagang are you confident that you're gonna win this time?
I mean, I keep telling people na hindi kami loko-loko ni Drew, di ba? We're realistic. We understand na this is an uphill battle.
Yeah.
When we started, it looked like a gargantuan, impossible task. Pero now it's looking more and more, may glimmer of hope, di ba? Because of the surveys that you are seeing. But what's more important, overarching objective for us is to keep planting the seeds. Keep growing that movement. Na kung hindi man kami manalo this time, Drew or me or other progressives like us in other parts of the country, alam ng tao, pwede kang tumakbo na wala kang pera. Alam ng tao, kahit hindi ka political insider, kahit political outsider ka, kahit first time mo, kahit hindi matunog yung family name mo, you can run on principles and people are gonna come out for you. People are gonna support you.
All right. We'll have both Drew Uy and Eric Martinez when At the Forefront returns after a short break.
The questions that matter, the answers you deserve.
This is where ideas clash, visions collide, and perspective change.
Join us live, unfiltered, uncompromising.
Your opinion counts.
Abogado, Thursday,
8:30 p.m. only on Bilyonaryo News Channel.
From your engaging travel adventures to your insightful lifestyle tips, you've created a show that's both entertaining and enriching. Congratulations to Marie Lozano from The Lifestyle Lab for winning Best Lifestyle Travel Show Host at the 38 PM PC Star Awards for Television. Only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We're back at the Forefront. Still with us, Parañaque election aspirants Drew Uy and Eric Martinez. Now, Parañaque has 16 barangays. So we'll pin 10 barangays here. So what will you do is that alternately, you will describe each barangay, no? And ano yung nagawa nyo during the campaign or kung anong gagawin nyo kung hindi nyo pa napupuntahan. Again, I'll give you 20 seconds to answer. So, ikukwento nyo lang naman yung experience nyo sa mga barangay na to and what you know about those barangays. Okay? So, let's show that map right now. Okay, so for Drew, Barangay Baclaran. Your 20 seconds, start now.
Well, so many vendors here. I guess we start there. All the residents have been feeling neglected, I was told. So we also go all throughout Baclaran. And then, syempre, the things that we want to solve are basically the problems of the vendors in the e-bikes.
Yung isang kalaban nyo, taga doon, di ba?
Yes.
All right, anyway, sige. For Eric, Barangay San Dionisio. Your timer starts now.
Ito yung baluarte ng mga Olivares. Historically, they have dominated that. So marami din, parang second biggest in my district. And they need a lot of help with cleanliness and baha din because that's always been their concern. And peace and order. They are clamoring for that.
Okay. So Drew, Barangay San Antonio. Timer starts now.
Well, kasi medyo divided dahil sa the way it's structured. But basically, Barangay San Antonio needs cooperation with everyone, cooperation within the valleys actually, and then everything else inside. Dito rin kasi nandito rin yung City Hall actually, so medyo tight sa loob ng San Antonio.
Okay, sabi mo tight. So, kamusta? Nakapagkampanya ka na ba dito? How's the experience so far?
Yes, actually, there was a clamor for one rally in San Antonio Valley 8. And yung medyo kasi merong mga government officials na palikod-likod na minsan kasi sa either bawal or ayaw mga kampanya kasi nga they want to support yung current yung
Dapat bawal. Dapat bawal.
Yes. But syempre yung iba medyo may parang yung nangyayari is they're trying to be more vocal na they want to support the current administration. The others naman, parang they really want change na talaga.
Okay. Sige, now let's go to Eric, Barangay Tambo. Timer starts now.
All right, home court ni Mayor Drew. And lots of pogos that used to operate in the area, ngayon sarado na lahat. So very sad na ang daming businesses na nag-close. And then ang dami ding natenga ng mga condominium and then other properties that used to house pogo employees.
Okay. So anong plano nyo ngayon dito? Sabi mo, maraming nawalan ng trabaho, maraming nagsarang mga negosyo. Definitely, pogo is illegal. So, anong gagawin nyo dito?
Yep. Part of our platform, pareho kami, ito yung pagtulong dun sa mga displaced na mga pogo employees. We know it's illegal, however, mga Pilipino to, di ba? Kailangan nating tulungan, di ba? If they can transition, if we can help them transition to a different industry. For example, industry that I'm very familiar with, BPO industry. Tulungan natin sila, di ba? Ano ba naman yung kumuha ka ng very expert trainers so that you can instill them yung mga soft skills na baka natutunan din nila sa pogo that you simply need to augment, di ba? Kasi hindi naman nila kasalanan na they were looking ng kabuhayan, di ba? But it's illegal, pero we still need to help them, right? In that manner.
Okay, sige. Drew, Barangay Moonwalk. Timer starts now.
Well, Barangay Moonwalk is actually really big and also very... Ang hirap na maraming mas pasingit-singit siya sa left and right. But basically, the same problems, basura, and sometimes yung iba baha, and also still healthcare ang kailangan nilang ayusin dito.
Okay, so talk about the experience. Napuntahan mo na ba ito and ano yung reception ng public sa pangangampanya nyo?
This actually, isa sa mga historic moments for me kasi parang naging sakto, coincidentally, the same time exactly 3 years ago, I was in Moonwalk and then supporter asked for a selfie kasi with me.
Okay.
And then sabi niya, Mayor, what a coincidence, exactly on the same day, you're here also in Moonwalk. I'll look for you here naman again. And then for another selfie para at least meron tayong 2022 and 2025. So, medyo malaki ang support actually ng Moonwalk. One of the barangays na medyo mataas ang ratings natin initially from 2022.
And you're confident you're getting Moonwalk?
A little bit getting there, yes.
Sige, kay Drew naman tayo.
Eric.
Let's go to, Eric muna. Again, Eric, Barangay La Huerta. Timer starts now.
La Huerta, very historical. Ito yung parang puso ng Parañaque. Ito yung mga OG na dati pa, right? So dito, nandito rin yung Bulungan Wet Market. We're very known for that. So really cheap seafood. Sa umaga, nandun lahat ng mga umibili. Pero yung problems nila, like most, basura, flooding. So very sad that we need help with that as well, and cleanliness.
Kanina mo pa binabanggit yung flooding, no?
Oo.
So, anong solusyon na nakikita nyo dyan?
Right. It's really a big-scale solution kasi nga it's not just the LGU that's involved. Pero if we're looking into what the LGU can do, Drew has a very comprehensive plan on that, on how we plan to mitigate it. And kasama na doon yung paglilinis ng mga estero with the efforts of the volunteers as well. Because yung mga problema ng Parañaque, hindi lang dapat sila mayor, sila CAP, yung nag-i-intid dyan, di ba? So when we do tree planting, when we do flood prevention, when we do cleanups on the creeks, we need to have volunteers. We need to have support kasi nga lahat to problema namin. And Parañaque is synonymous with baha, believe it or not. Konting ulan lang, baha na kami in most parts of Parañaque. So it's really frustrating for most of us, sadly.
Alright, for sure. And now, Drew, Barangay Don Bosco. Timer starts now.
Don Bosco is this, we call this the world tour, Don Bosco, kasi a lot of the streets are different countries. So it's really enjoyable. Actually sobrang daming volunteers dito, and they're the loudest so far, and they're the craziest. And Don Bosco has been fun. It's been again a world tour of Parañaque.
Okay, sige, let's go to Eric again, Barangay Santo Niño.
Santo Niño, it's on the kind of near the airport na, and it's part of the OGs that I'm saying, historic din, right? So ang experience namin dito, very, very fun, very entertaining in the sense na we didn't expect a lot of support initially from Santo Niño kasi medyo malayo sa akin, right? But when we started going around there, yung mga todang nakakausap namin, yung mga vendor nakakausap namin sa labas, they are hearing us from social media, right? So they're taking selfies with us. So it's surprising to see yung support namin, not just coming from gated subdivisions, but people on the streets dun sa lansangan. Kaya nga, it's surprising yung lumabas dun sa latest Cali survey na, hey, Drew is only 7% away from the current incumbent.
Importante talaga yung TOD at saka mga vendors.
Correct.
Yes.
Anyway, last na siguro para kay Drew, Barangay Don Galo. Timer starts now.
Donggalo is, again, a very, very historic place. And one of the actually core volunteers that I mentioned from 2022 lives here. And then, initially, ayaw ng parents sa akin. But now, todo support silang dalawa for this campaign, especially with Consi Eric. And then now, malaki, even when those going there, merong ang dami wants to get a selfie with me.
Kumbaga, nandyan yung core mo, no?
Yes.
So, okay, so we have another one. Barangay San Isidro. Okay, this is for you. Okay, Eric, timer starts now.
Yeah, that's my home court. Diyan ako nakatira. It's the largest barangay in the 1st district of Parañaque. Mga problema namin, the usual. Pagbabaha. Sa bahay ko binabaha mismo, mga 3 oras. Natuloy-tuloy kahit hindi bagyo, baha. And then peace and order and cleanliness as well.
Okay, so ngayon, ano yung gusto nyong lasting siguro impact or yung tatak na gusto nyong maiwan sa lahat ng to, sa pagtakbo nyo sa politika? At kung swertihin kayo, manalo, anong gusto nyong maalala ng mga tao? Let's start with Eric first.
For me, ordinaryong tao can do this, right? If you want change in society, you have to be able to leap to that change. You have to be willing to be part of that change. And part of that change is participating directly sa ating electoral process, being a candidate or volunteering for a candidate. And don't be afraid na when Drew started in 2022, he was literally alone, right? But now here we are, we have a lot of traction. People are going to support you. If they see na busilak yung principles mo, maayos yung where you stand on, people are gonna come out for you. Hindi ka man manalo, but at least the seed has been planted, and mas importante, nakikita ng mga tao, hindi madumi yung politika. Meron, although they're a minority, meron pa rin na may mga prinsipyo.
Okay, let's go to Drew. Short statement, Drew, go ahead.
That there is still hope. Meron pa rin pag-asa, no matter how bleak it looks outside, that there will be still hope. There will still always be hope.
All right, thank you very much, Drew Uy and Eric Martinez for joining us this morning. Drew Uy and Eric Martinez are proving that passion and purpose can drive a campaign even without deep pockets. They are relying on grassroots support more than spectacle. Their bid is a bold attempt to disrupt and grip of a political dynasty in Parañaque. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again on Monday for deeper insights on people with passion to serve others. On behalf of Attorney Jimeno, this is Gerg Cahiles. Thank you for spending your hour with us.